He's here.
What?
He's watching us through this scraphead.
Not bad, Yankee man.
Binary Domain is a futuristic shooter with influences of Ghost in the Shell, Blade Runner, and a bit of Terminator thrown in for good measure. The story is about a special forces team going into Japan to find out if a robotics company has been breaking the law by making illegal human-like robots called Hollow Children. The story is interesting, and it has humor and some cheesy lines, but I really enjoyed it, and it's definitely worth playing through to the end, as I really liked the characters, setting, and the entire idea behind the storyline. If you're not picky about it being super serious, it's actually a very enjoyable story. Also, being a huge anime fan and a fan of Ghost in the Shell, I really loved the storyline of this game. It also had some really great set pieces, scenes, and some really funny and entertaining one-liners. Now, one of the cool features of the game is the ability to talk to your teammates. You're not just barking orders, but you're responding to some of their lines and building friendship and trust with them. This is a really cool idea, and it works fairly well if you use a headset. But don't bother using the voice commands if you're using the Kinect as your microphone. It simply does not work right, and it just gets what you're saying wrong. You can play the whole game by just using buttons to give orders or respond, and it still gives you the same emotion. It's just not in the same level of immersion. The game looks great with sharp textures and an overall fantastic visual design. I love the lighting effects, and the particle and special effects when you're fighting enemies looks fantastic. Seeing buildings crumble during some of the gigantic boss battles is quite thrilling. Overall, there were no glitches I found, and I really dug the look of the game. The level design, and most importantly boss design, was also really terrific. Gameplay is very similar to Gears of War. However, since you're fighting robots, you can dismember and blow their parts away, giving combat a faster and much more visceral feel. Guns are responsive and sound good, and the effects they have on the robots you fight makes for a very fun and satisfying shooting experience. The squad mechanics also work very well, and your team is quite useful with decent AI. I would have liked more weapons for the most part though, as you'll be making use of the main assault rifle for the majority of the game. The cover mechanics work pretty well. It's not perfect, but they're still well done. And it does make the game feel fun and fluid. Melee combat can look mildly clunky, but some of the takedowns can be quite cool. Also, the boss battles are simply tons of fun and break up the pace of the game. And they're old school, and in other words, strategy wins the day. You attack where they're weakest, and it leads to some fun strategy and intense battles. I can't stress enough how great these epic set-piece boss battles are. They're truly great, and the lines from your team during them can be priceless and really fun. The game also has some other fun and interesting set pieces, but I'll leave them to be a surprise for you. But trust me, they're really, really cool. The game is long for a shooter, lasting around 8 to 10 hours, and the game has multiplayer. However, it's simply not as fun as the single-player campaign. You'll be fighting human enemies, and well, that takes away from the cool effects that the robots have when you're dismembering or blowing them apart, and just leads to an average cover-based online shooter. Also, however, like most games today, there is a cooperative horde mode, which is pretty fun since you are fighting the robot enemies from the single-player game, and I did enjoy it quite a bit. However, it would have been nice to perhaps make the entire game cooperative as well. It may have its flaws, but it's really a shame this wasn't one of the bigger hyped release titles. Overall, this is a solid, fun, and long-lasting shooter that will delight any cover-based shooter fan and any sci-fi nut. It boasts some impressive set pieces and has some awesome gunplay. It's well worth your time and money. Definitely don't let this one slip under the radar. Thanks for watching my review. Please rate, comment, and subscribe.
Open fire!